Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you all of the accepted data types in Python. So we first start with strings, which are basically a string of characters, letters, or symbols, or even numbers. But numbers in strings behave differently from numbers in other data types. You can use strings to show text or some symbols in your programs. The next data type is integer, which are basically integer numbers and they don't have any floating points. They are just whole numbers. But the next data types, which are floating point numbers, have floating points and they are not whole. The next data types are complex numbers, which basically contain one real part and one imaginary part. Complex numbers are more mathematical, so I'm not going to get into it just now, but I'm going to make a video about all of the number data types and also a separate video for strings. The next data type are lists, which are a combination of other data types. You could say a list of objects. For example, in this example, this list contains 3 strings. But in Python lists, you don't need to use just one data type. You can have multiple. For example, you can have numbers, strings, or even other lists. Think of lists as arrays in other programming languages. The next data type are tuples or tuples, which are exactly like lists, but you can't change the value inside of them. Or in other words, they are immutable. The next data type is range, which, well, is not a real data type because it just makes a list out of the number from 1 to 6. The next data type is dictionaries or dicts, which are basically key value pairs. You give them a name and you define a value for them. They can contain all the other data types. The next data type is set. Sets are basically unordered lists that can't contain duplicate values. All of the values should be unique. Then we have frozen sets, which are just like sets but immutable. Then we have one of the most useful data types in all of the programming languages, Boolean data types, which can be either true or false. Note that both true and false are capitalized, which means their first letter are capital. The next data types are bytes. Bytes basically turn all of the characters inside of your strings into a list of byte values. I'm going to talk about all of the byte related data types in another video. But the last data type is actually non-type, which means it's nothing basically. For example, if you don't want to put any values in your variables, you just give them a non-type. Or if you want to empty a variable for later use, you can also give them non-type. And if you want, you can fill them up with another data type later. So that was it. That was all of the accepted data types in Python. I hope you enjoyed it, and I see you in the next video.